Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SE-Talk und bei mir heute besondere Ehre Sirona BioChem und diesmal nicht der Howard, sondern die Géraldine. Sie ist Chief Science Officer und lebt in Frankreich, aber ihr braucht keine Angst haben, ich mache kein Interview in Französisch. Mein Französisch ist noch schlechter oder eigentlich gar nicht vorhanden als mein Englisch und deswegen erspare ich euch, aber mein Englisch müsst ihr allerdings trotzdem ertragen. Conflict of Interest allerdings gleich voraus, ich bin Aktionär und schauen wir uns einmal, was sie uns Neues berichtet. Géraldine, thank you to have time, and I said in my German intro, I have a conflict of interest, I'm a shareholder of the company. I know you are too, you are one of the two major shareholders in the company.
Yeah.
Thank you to have time. And my first question is really, before we talk about Sirona, I would talk a little bit about the situation at the moment in France about the coronavirus. It is the major topic. Everybody talks about it. Everybody's heard about it. We're sitting since 4 weeks. Are sitting here. Yes, 4 weeks exactly. I cannot go shopping or whatever. How the situation looks like in France?
Yes, I think it's a very strange situation for everybody, and this is also a bit scary for people right now. It doesn't prevent a lot of people to work here in France, especially in our company. We still pursue to do some work, even if we try to favor some works from home for people that has not to go in the lab, but we try to take, major decision in order to protect all the salaries and to have the perfect situation. I think that people do what they can do right now. They try to not to survive, but to go through this period. I think the worry is not only for the virus by itself, but also for what will happen after in terms of economy for all the countries. So this is something that people worried a lot. But I think that we all try to take care of not spreading too much this disease, especially because the health system is really under a lot of stress right now. Mm-hmm. We receive a lot of help from Germany, and especially with patients that has gone to a German hospital, which bring a lot of oxygen to the hospital here, which were wonderful. But yeah, we try to manage we seems to be arrived at a level where the number of people going to the hospital seems to not to climb too much, mm-hmm. but still climbing. So it gives good hope. Mm-hmm. to everybody, and we need good hope right now. We need good hope, and we see that from China. We see that from Germany also. We try to see what's happened everywhere, and we learn. We learn from what's happening right now. We don't know everything. We don't know everything about this virus. Mm-hmm. So there will be maybe some bad surprise coming after that. We don't know right now. So it makes the situation very, very difficult. But most of the people try to handle that, and it's still like amazing, but not in the good sense. Mm-hmm. So we're still very, very, we feel very strange about it still.
Yeah, and it's going so quick. 1 month ago I was in Toronto and coming back 1 week later.
Yeah. That's so brutal.
Yeah. Come back to your company and the last press release. What we're coming up is that you're working on some compound for the coronavirus, and this surprised me and I think also some investors. Then a lot of companies running around at the moment and use this hype of coronavirus and get some attention to their stock and yeah. So what's really is the thing why Sirona can help on this disease?
So it's not only on coronavirus. If you to try to make it simple, it's of course I will mean it's not very nice, but the situation could help to develop this project. But we work in sugar, and especially in sugar mimics. Our technology is not only to do skin lightening, anti-diabetes drug. Our technology is focused on sugar mimics. By doing sugar mimics, there is multiple potential application for this technology. We have some projects which are not in the pipe of development, but just lag behind for UTI, urinary tract infection, for Crohn's disease, for anti-inflammatory, for anti-cancer drug, because sugar are part of the biological process that involve in cell recognition, but which means cell virus, cell bacteria. When there is recognition of discussion between cells, sugar are involved. Cells from your own body, but also with virus and with bacteria. So for a long time we knew and we had in mind to develop antiviral drugs, because there is a lot of potential for sugar mimic in this area. Few months ago, even before coronavirus arrived in China, I had just one worry about our technology for this application, because of the fluorine in certain position, especially for one target that we had, I thought that it could destabilize the key intermediates that we'll need for doing this application. So I asked the team long time ago to work on a glycosidase inhibitors or specific drugs to give the proof that our technology of sugar mimics doesn't destabilize these intermediates and allowed us to develop antiviral drugs. So we did that, but I mean it was probably in end of August, beginning of September. We test it in the lab, and we try that the intermediate remains in the good position despite the fluorine atom, so that we could apply it for antiviral. So we had in mind to develop this antiviral technology since sometimes ago, since even the beginning of the technology. It was part of the project that I had in my paper book. It's very difficult to find on that. Antiviral is not the key, the thing that people want to develop, because when you develop antiviral, usually you have the potential to have a vaccine that come and make this product not available. So there is a lot of difficulty to go in this area. But I will say, because of what's happening to the coronavirus, we have the opportunity then to have more funding through the French government, to have more helps, to have more contact with companies that open to collaborate within this area in order to develop, because we can't develop alone. We need to have good partner in order to do the evaluation of these compounds. And it's not everywhere you can do that. There is a specific lab that can work in this area. So it's open a new game that allows us to develop what we had already built and to pursue this with potential partners and all what was difficult to find before. So it gives a good opportunity, but the technology was there before for that. So after we pick up not this project at first, because we saw that it will be difficult to fund, but then with that we say maybe that's the time.
So that's mean it was always in your bag that you're working on this antivirus things first. Second is that and this is for sure also the momentum what we have at the moment in this area. It helps dramatically. Everybody is looking now and work with other companies together to bring something forward to help to get over to this disease. Hopefully soon. So that was maybe the right time. So it was not something that you see this now and you say, hey, maybe we test our technology. And so it was always in the back. Okay, very good point. But this brings me to another point. Is you said that's your technology. So what makes your platform, your technology so unique?
One thing which is crazy with this technology is usually when you do drug development, you have to do 10,000 of compounds to find one which works. in our technology right now, each compound that we target works, it means that if we decide to do this kind of compounds for diabetes or this kind of model for diabetes, we don't have to do 10,000 of drugs to have one. I mean, we have to do 5 compounds around, and we are sure to have 5 of these compounds that are active and 1 which become more efficient because of bioavailability and stuff like that. It's just that because we mimic things that are, well known, things that has been identified to be a good target for receptor, but can't be developed because they are sugar. And sugar breakdowns very easily. You have in your body all the things to metabolize sugar. It gives you energy. You put sugar in your coffee, maybe, and it gives you energy. And your organism has all the scissors to break the sugar very, very quickly. So develop drugs from sugar is very difficult, especially as you have to make modification that, I will say, keep. It's like a key in a hole. I mean, you have to keep the selectivity. That the shape of your molecules has to remain the same, despite the change the chemical change that you're making. So it has to stay the same. But you have also to add components that gives more selectivity, more link to the receptor, because sugar sometimes lack a bit of strength to link. And fortunately, what we develop in terms of mimicking sugar with the fluorine bring that, I would say, maybe not for everything. Maybe we'll not be able to target like Alzheimer's disease or other. Maybe there will be disease like some neurologic disease which will be more tricky to be used with sugar. But for the other one, it makes it far simple, and it's really bring added value all the time.
To be honest, I don't understand everything what you say, but. But it sounds great. But to other point, why it works on so a broad area? You're coming on skin light, and I think it's proof of concept that it's working on skin light. But then we have anti-aging. Then we have diabetes. So and I worked also 5 years in the chemical industry, so I have a little bit idea what you're talking. And I worked 5 years in the lab, but. For me, it's the fantastic thing that it's work on so a broad area.
Yeah, because finally, the sugar is only a part of the structure. There is a sugar plus always something else. So we developed this specific expertise on the sugar, which gives us a lot of advance, because all of the failure even we had, it's a very specific and difficult chemistry to develop. That is the first barrier to enter. And we make a lot of work since many years, even through the university before in this area. And all what we learned from failure give us now good target to develop the right sugar. There is multiple sugar, so every application goes to specific sugar with specific shape, with specific, I will say, conformation, even moves in liquid. So it's really thousands of possibility through that, and you have on the other side thousands possibility to add what we call aglycone part. It's not sugar, other molecules. That will bring different application for different areas. For diabetes, for example, it was a specific part with aromatic compounds, which allow to target a specific receptor, the SGLT in the kidney. For virus, you can use base of the DNA or the RNA. I have to say it in English, so I have to change the order of the word. So you can modify. So you have the sugar, but you have something else. So the something else and the type of sugar you're using
make the difference
in different areas. So it's and the opportunity is even bigger behind, and we can't develop everything at the same time. So we have to focus on projects that are, in light with the potential of market also. That could find that could be that big pharma will be interested in and developing and put on the market. So, of course, everything don't fit the good time. So we have to focus on what is major and what we could develop at a good time also.
But I cannot say that your platform is a kind of delivery system, so that they say, okay, I have another compound, and this sugar compound open the body to bring it in this direction.
I will say yes and not. You're right. It could be for some compounds, but most of the time the sugar is part of the activity.
Okay.
It's globally the compounds plus the sugar that make the.
So if the sugar is in this compound and have an active role in this, then you can work with.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a pro-drug where the sugar can leave a pot and just bring the drugs to the.
No.
The sugar needs to stay on it to have the activity.
Okay.
If you lose the sugar, you lose everything.
So if I'm only half wrong, it's great for me. So I can live with that. So, but coming to different projects and stages, we know exactly, and the most advanced is, from my point of view, is the skin lighter. Is it right, or or you think, okay, skin light is for me more done? I'm working now on other things.
It's depending on what you're speaking. The skin lightener, you mean?
Yes.
For me, as a scientist, the skin lightening is now becomes to be at another step. I'm a chemist, so in terms of chemistry, we have did the compounds, and right now what we're doing is development, production for this, and we have. We need to go because we went from kilo at first, but now we're on 15, 20, and even more kilo because we have other companies that are in discussion. So now it's a matter of production. So I'm still involved, but it's the next stage. It's not the stage of research, and we are on the step of commercialization.
Okay, what is your focus now?
So we have the anti-wrinkle.
Great, I like it. I need it.
Yeah.
I need it. Soon. so please hurry up in this area. So what is the progress in anti-wrinkle?
It's working well. We have made some good advance. We have next week some evaluation that will be done. We had just one of our subsidiary that was on halt because of the coronavirus. So which should go back to work middle of April. So we are preparing all the sending, all our components. We have different components that are ready in order to improve the skin permeation. And after, the next stage for us is formulation and clinical trial. But I will say the in vitro evaluation has been performed. We just try to secure the better skin permeation, to have the better efficacy in vitro. So it's just slight modification that it's a bit of nothing in terms of research now. It's just some modification, but well known that on specific part of the molecule to make it a better in vivo efficacy. So to have everything perfectly on site. So this is very exciting for us, because the next stage and the next results will give us the result in human. So for us, this is a great stage for us for this one.
And when we can expect this kind of results? This year, or is it too early?
I think because of what happened with coronavirus, we have some issue with clinical trial. Most of the site has been closed for clinical trial, except the one in Asia. But anti-aging, Asian skin doesn't work the same that European, so it's not a good thing to do clinical trial there. So it really rely on that. Because of that, I just think that 2021, beginning of 2000 is. I mean, it's more sure to say that than hoping that everything will be okay for the end of the year.
Okay, this is anti-wrinkle. Then we have a lot of other areas. So what are you working also hard on it?
Sorry, can you repeat for me?
On which other area are you working on beside the anti-wrinkle?
So we work also on the SGLT inhibitors for other application, other potential application, because SGLT inhibitors have shown some potential for, how could I say, to prevent fibrosis. Fibrosis can happen in many organs, in heart, in kidney, and there is a lot of work that show that this compound have a good promise for that, and we have a very efficient SGLT inhibitor that has been licensed to Wanbang, and we try to develop this specific application for these SGLT inhibitors, especially as it could be used for what we call the non-alcoholic. I don't know how to say it in English, but the NASH, NASH disease. You know, that's and even the starting case of NASH leading to liver. It's liver, the word, to liver cancer. So we have this in development also right now, with evaluation that will go next week for fibrosis also, and we have specific compounds for what we call FIM-H inhibition. So that's very big, but that leads to urinary tract infection and Crohn's disease. This is a specific target of some bacteria, which are Escherichia coli, that are involved in Crohn's disease, and we have some compounds in development for that also in the lab, in the chemistry part of the lab.
For a better understanding how you work, you say it now, the skin lighter, for example, is now more development thing and have nothing more. But that's you're involved still for sure, but it's done. It's a done deal for you as a scientist.
It's more it's less research now.
Yeah.
It's other stages and research, pure research.
How we can, as investor, can think how you work. You coming up in the morning with the idea and say, yeah, we go in this direction for anti-wrinkle, and say how long it takes that you bring something forward, and how many things you can work parallel. Is it possible to work on a lot of things, or is it then too much that you are not coming forward in all areas? You must be more focused on one or two things, or you can work on different areas in general simultaneously.
We can work on different areas simultaneously. We have different projects that we study as a team, as global team, to see what are the potential, where we are, what we can bring in terms of proof of concept, because we don't do for pharmaceutical drug, we don't do the clinic, for example. So we have to give a certain proof of concept to be sure that big pharmaceutical company will be ready to invest at early stage. So we try to see where we can bring strong proof of concept, which area, what are the timing, if the timing good for that, and depending if there is potential, we go in the lab in this area. So in the lab, we are chemists, and there is chemists, so developing the molecule, so working, I will say, all the time on multiple projects, because you have to. They develop, for example, they work in, I would say each chemist can work on 2 or 3 different areas, trying to find a solution in order to achieve the compound. And as soon as it works, then they sometimes focus on one project to be sure to achieve it as fast as possible, then to push it. But we have always a backup. They have always a backup project that they advance, because, I mean, when they do a synthesis, it's like cooking. So you have a recipe that go on, but during its cooking, you can do something else on another project, and so there is different projects in parallel. And we're hiring right now 2 other technicians. Because we have a lot for inflammation or the potential compound that we develop, which needs some chemicals development all the time. So this takes a little bit of time. So we need to have all the team focus all the time on the research. So in the lab, they're working all the time on developing method, sometimes just methodology. For example, if we have to change a sugar, and it's a very different sugar, we have to find a new recipe. And we find a new recipe, and then we know that we can apply it for this application, so then we can go within the application.
The Skin Lighter was the first really great product what you have a big deal with other companies. Do this help you to talk then with other companies? So this success with the Skin Lighter with other companies, it's now easier for you that you can talk with the big boys in this area?
So I will say in two different areas, SGLT inhibitor with one bang help us to discuss with big pharmaceutical company, mostly. And skin lightener, to make a first deal was essential to be recognized by other big cosmetic companies. So yes, we have currently discussion even to develop SGLT inhibitors with other company, because the collaboration with Wanbang is in China. And the licensing with Wanbang is in China. So we have other potential for other country with other company in discussion. So of course it helps a lot to have this first deal ongoing. It's a lot of credibility to have it in development there. And same for lightning. We have, even on the lightning compound and on all the other projects, even the anti-aging, we are able now to have early relationship with cosmetic company, which even tell us, okay, you're building your clinical trial. I'd like to see that. Can you? So we even now the clinical trial that we are building, we don't build it alone. Already with prospects that are interested, even if we can't communicate on that, we have already. So this give that, you know.
It makes it much easier also what the big boys looking for.
Exactly, to be sure, because you're developing compound, this relationship is essential to know what they're because you can see, okay, what is important as a scientist is that. After there is a market, there is something behind that the big pharma or the cosmetic company knows better, that what they want to see exactly in their own pipe. So this link is makes to have this first deal make a huge change in terms of relationship. So now we don't have to run after. We have the relationship earlier. Even sometimes as a scientist, I think, oh, it's too earlier because I want to keep it ever, more intense. But it's not earlier. In fact, it helps us to build even the development of this family, of all the family of compounds. So it's, to be honest, now it's perfect.
Okay, sounds good. For personally, think what is the next big thing for you?
The next big things, I mean, the quicker from now, it's the glycoprotein anti-aging.
Okay.
Where we have a lot of interesting, very big prospects, and the potential for this compound is just amazing. So for us, this is even the discovery was amazing. I mean, to be honest, it was target for something else. What it still does, so skin protection, it's perfect, but it brings added value. So we discover in assays this I will say other application which were unique. I mean, no compounds are doing that. And when you look at what all the major cosmetic company were looking for, it's all compounds that can stimulate the lipid synthesis in the adipocyte, but which are very, very low in the skin. But to be able to have fibroblasts to lipid synthesis, it's something that is not possible. Fibroblast doesn't do lipid synthesis. So, and of course it does it. It just under the first layer. So the effect is far more efficient than if it's adipocytes, which are lower. So it's just very good.
Sounds great, like a holy grail or something.
I like this one. And the story of it also. For IP right now, I can't say everything, but because we still have a deadline with some IP. But when I will be able to speak about it, the history of this family of compound is just also very nice.
Okay, interesting. Géraldine, thank you for this updates. Thank you for the talk. It was really a pleasure for me to talk with you. Stay healthy as in this environment. This is, I think, the most important part. I think.
You too.
Thank you, and finger crossed that everything working fine.
Yeah, we will.
Okay, thank you.
Take care of you.
You too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
You too. Ja, war ein Update von Géraldine. Sie ist CSO, muss man sagen. CSO, Chief Science Officer von Sirona, und es war ein extrem nettes Interview, war extrem interessant. Es geht darum, dass sie quasi alles, was mit Zucker quasi verbunden ist, wo Zucker aktive Komponente ist in diesem Kreislauf, wo sie quasi den Körper beeinflussen, können sie so modifizieren, dass sie quasi in jedem einzelnen Bereich arbeiten können. Deswegen auch diese große Bandbreite, was sie haben, also nicht nur Kosmetik, Anti-Aging, sondern auch Diabetes oder sonst irgendwas oder antiviral, wie wir es jetzt auch bei Corona haben. Deswegen funktioniert das auch. Und da haben sie jetzt sehr viele Studien gehabt früher und sehr viele auch Fehler gemacht und sehr viel daraus gelernt, und jetzt funktioniert das scheinbar sehr, sehr gut. Was allerdings, um das abzukürzen, Sie kennen, ich brauche das jetzt nicht erzählen, aber was mich jetzt wirklich begeistert hat, war zum Schluss, wie ich gefragt habe, was ist das nächste große Ding, und das war das Anti-Aging. Ich meine, da haben Sie selber gesehen, wie es auf einmal zum Strahlen angefangen hat, und seien wir ehrlich, Anti-Aging ist der große Big Thing, und wenn das jetzt wirklich so funktioniert, wie sie gestrahlt hat, dann muss ich ehrlicherweise sagen, dann haben wir erst den richtigen Knüller vor uns. Da ist das andere alles, wie wir immer sagen, ein berühmter Lehrerschatz. Das ist dann richtig spannend. Und die anderen Kooperationen, was sie natürlich jetzt schon haben, helfen natürlich, weil sie halt einfach jetzt mit den ganzen Pharmaunternehmen oder Kosmetikunternehmen zusammenarbeiten und die genau sagen, was sie wollen. Das hilft natürlich extrem. Das war es von Sirona, kurz vor Ostern. Heute ist der 9. April, und ich wünsche Ihnen frohe Ostern, bleiben Sie gesund, und wir sehen uns in Kürze.